Bluff City Media presents the $2 Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the $2 Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, checking in here with my colleague, friend of the podcast, co-founder of the podcast, Uncle Buck. What's up, brother?
Oh, it's just another day in paradise. I was wondering if you're going to tell me I was more than a friend of this podcast. 'Cause we talk about friends of the podcast a lot, and there are people who I'm not sure still listen, but so I'm way much more than friend of the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm Zuckerberg, and you're Winklevoss. Okay. Full disclosure: for the second week in a row, Rusty has ended this recording for outlandish reasons.
Hush.
All I wanted to do was just be happy about having plans on a Friday night with my buddy Buckets. And instead of delivering me the bad news on the air like a man, he canceled it.
Oh my gosh.
And told me off air.
Oh my gosh. We're going to do this. You're unbelievable. We're moving right along with the $2 Sports Show, as we normally do when my co-host decides to come off his medicine and get a little bit senile on me. But Drew, we always start this show with our best in beef, and my beef might be changing now. But anyway, regardless, here we are. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we always start our shows with a Buck's Best and Beef of the Week, where we sit and we talk about the best parts of our week and the worst parts of our week. Nothing sports related usually here, because this is a segment that our mamas and friends and people who are not so interested in sports listen to this part of the show before they tune out at our first commercial break. So we will start with our best of the week. Uncle Buck, what's your best of the week?
I'm just a proud dad this week, I think is what I am. You know, we've had a good week. It's been pretty outside. We had an incredible Roscoe's Auto Sales won an absolute barn burner on Monday night at the Ripley Park, the Ripley ball field, down 6 runs going into the last inning. Who cares? I scored 7. And without needing, we're the visiting team, so all we had to do is convince a bunch of 6 and 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, not to let the other team score any runs, and we win. And what do? We win, shut them out in the bottom half of the inning to get a big win. But then also Monday was school awards at the kids' elementary school, and let me tell you what, the Gann kids, they swept them all. We're talking math. We're talking English. We're talking accelerated reader points.
Let's go.
Chloe had the most accelerated reader points in the whole 2nd grade. And so Braxton had the most in his class. So, just a quick message to all the 1st and 2nd grade parents in Ripley Elementary School: have fun competing for 2nd forever.
From fantasy football to school board
to take it all.
Winners.
We leave no prisoners. We take them all. Snatch and grab.
We snatching them chains in Ripley, Mississippi.
I was real proud. They did this. I hate this. Okay. In award shows, please hold your applause till the end, so we can get through this. I'm like, no, that was my kid. I'm proud. I'm clapping.
Daggum right. I hate when they do that.
Braxton, because their last name currently is Tyra, they were towards the end, and he happened to be the last one. So I just clapped really quickly before everybody else got there. And Chloe was not having the best day. It's some things that's going on in, just life. Mm-hmm. And she dealt with a little bit of disappointment the day that it was going on. And so I saw her walk across stage, and she's kind of searching the crowd for somebody. And she took her award, and I was like, ain't no way she ain't getting clapped for right now.
Nope.
So I just started clapping. I went, whoa, in my work uniform. I don't care. No. She needed it. I gave it to her, and I will do it every time.
Absolutely.
So, it's just a good week. Then we went off and just beat Robert's Builders like a redheaded stepchild. at the park in Ripley.
Bunch of bums.
Bunch of bums. Couldn't even score one run. Okay.
Coach Bench baseball.
You're telling me, like, you only went up by 6. What were you thinking? We can only score 7. Obviously, we're going to score 7. So,
Absolutely.
Going to do is score 1. Come on, too little.
Yeah. Listen, if you come at the king, you best not miss. And so,
yeah. Robert's Builder's too little.
hit him with the too small on the way out, right?
Rusty, what's your best of the week?
Uncle Buck is eyeball to eyeball these 8 and 9-year-olds telling you too small. You're too small.
No kidding. Well, like I said, we were the away team, so we were in the field trying to seal the deal here. And a dribbler went to the third baseman, who's is a son of a guy that I work with. He's a lineman for me. And his dad helps me coach. And I'm not kidding. When that thing came to him, and he bobbled it one time, and runner on second and third. So I was like, just force play. I tell him it's force play. Just step on the back. He bobbled it. I see him grab it with his bare hands. Like, he ain't dropping now. It's just a race.
Yeah.
And by the time he gets to the bag, I'm there with him, just like, and I'm like, yeah. And you'd have thought the Grizzlies, the confetti was like just spraying in the air. The way I was reacting to a 8U coach pitch game, but it was intense.
I mean, listen,
had parents afterwards like high five me, like, man, great game. And I was like, yeah, I had fun.
I mean, you got to celebrate the kids, man. It's all about the kids and celebrate their wins, man. Just all I will say is they better be glad that Uncle Buckets was not at the awards day at Ripley Elementary, because I would have had posters and been acting a fool. What are they going to do? Kick me out? Fine. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if there's I will have no shame when it comes to my kids. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be like the overbearing. Like, I don't want to be the sports parent that's yelling at umpires or yelling at coaches. My kid never does anything wrong. Never going to do that. But if my kid does something, like, I'm going to cheer them on. I'm going to set them straight. If they need to be set straight. Yeah. And dang it, we're going to have fun. Yeah. Like, it's just that. Like, we're going to have fun. And so, anyways, it was a good week in the Gann household.
Love it. So, story of my life is I am a day late and a dollar short. I'm always late to the party. I'm always behind the 8 ball. I'm never first in line for anything.
You definitely weren't in the looks department when I was handing them out.
I was thinking about that in my head, but I was just, I got a face made for radio. I got in the wrong line when it comes to the looks department, right? I just got tall. That's it.
We signed up to join Bluff City Media knowing that they do video content, and I don't know why.
I mean, I really don't. I don't know. They picked the 2 worst representatives of Northeast Mississippi from a looks department and slapped us on YouTube for you fine folks to look at every Friday at 3:00.
And it's just unfortunate for everybody because, like, this is not even my best feature. My best feature is like from here down.
Here we go again. Anyway. Mine's over here in the kennel laying here with taking her nightly nap. But anyway.
Ted's at my feet. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, that's it. And so I'm late to the party on something else. I'm so sad I missed out on Game of Thrones all these years.
It's so
I've been good. The character development is so good. The storyline is so good. The people they cast in these roles, like, I hate Joffrey's little bug-eyed face, and it just makes me angry every time I see it. Eddard Stark was just like this pillar of nobility and like fortitude and just goodness. Like Robert Baratheon plays the alcoholic king, that actor so well. Like, it's perfect.
Honestly, of all the kings you will see, if I was ever king, I'd probably be a lot like him. Like, I'm king of the world. You can't tell me nothing.
No, you're gonna put the kingdom in millions of dollars of debt, but you can't tell me nothing. I'm the king.
Oh, how did you die? Oh, I went hunting with a knife. Like,
that's it.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks. But it's so good. Like, every episode, I'm like highs and lows, and I'm all in. And you said multiple times, one of the best parts about back watching it now with Maggie is that I can watch it without having to wait a week, or then even multiple weeks and months in between seasons, right? Like, I can watch it like a few in a week and kind of keep up with the storyline because it's so well done.
It's so intricate too.
It is.
It's so well put together.
There's so many storylines that they're keeping afloat. And I know they're all going to come crashing together at some point, and it's heading towards that here at the end of the first season. But it's impressive how they can keep my interest in Jon Snow on the wall, and then I don't see him for like 2 episodes, and then I'm like right back invested in. And Daenerys and Drago, as they're going through, on their caravan, like I won't see him for an episode or 2, and I'm right back hooked in when they come back.
Yeah. It's just it's such a good show, and it's something I was telling you for years, but I guess I just needed to be a pretty woman to tell you.
You never offered to cuddle with me while we watched it.
Rusty, I will cuddle with you anytime. You know this.
That's fair.
I just want to be the big spoon. Okay.
That's it.
No, it's just a really good show, and people like Rusty, 2 weeks ago, we're just like, I don't do fantasy and dragons and stuff like that. I don't watch make believe stuff. I only read biographies.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than that. The dragons are the dragons. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure at this point, there's going to be dragons, right?
Yeah, there's 3 eggs, and we're heading towards. They keep showing them here and there. I know something's coming.
Eggs.
Yeah.
And so, put that aside. This is a political thriller.
Yeah.
In a make believe world.
It is, and
it's like as if. Everybody in like the 1940s were kind of fighting and squirt. Everybody was kind of on equal playing fields. The U.S., the Germans, and
it was called World War II.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But then out of nowhere, like all these other countries are squabbling, and then the U.S. shows up with a nuke. Like that's what Daenerys is like. Oh crap! You telling me we get dragons now?
I can't wait to watch that storyline develop. See how this can go. There's so many things they're setting up for. I have so many ideas and whatnot, and between you and Maggie are not letting me dance around the truth. If I get close to something, you throw me off the scent, and then I'm like, I was right. Dadgummit, I was right.
No chance I'm giving you anything.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm all in, man. I love Jason Momoa already, and I'm not a fan of his character being sick. We're going to fit the next episode we got is the season finale of season 1, and so I know there's a lot's going to be happening. There's a lot of loose ends that they're going to tie up, and I'm sure a few more that they're going to break wide open to get me invested in season 2. Well done, creators of Game of Thrones. I'm all in for all umpteen seasons and episodes.
Yeah, I've kind of been going back through Breaking Bad. If you never watched Breaking Bad, you
great show.
Yeah. All right, my beef of the week. So school's winding down. That means that I get family and friends. They all want to spend the night with my kids, or my kids want to spend the night here and there. And so today, recent development, my niece is at my house. My niece Lila, she's 10. She was the first grandkid on my first niece. So the first grandkid on this side of the family.
First of her name, as Game of Thrones would say.
First of her name. Queen of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Long may she reign. But Lila is we're in the van in the Honda Odyssey, and we're riding home to Ripley from Kossuth, where we picked her up. We went to my parents' house for a second, and she says, "Uncle Buck, Aunt Haley, I lost a tooth." I just look at Haley and I was like, I ain't paying for it. Don't think you're getting anything from me. You can, honey, baby. Haley looked at her and said, I'll show you where the Ziploc bags are at, but you're too fair.
Only comes to your house.
Yeah, I don't Tooth Fairy ain't never been to Ripley, all right?
My parents used to always make us be at home for Christmas because they said Santa Claus don't know you if you're not at your own house. It's just because my lazy parents didn't want to lug in those presents all over God's country.
Oh, no. I disagree. I am whole 100,000% with your parents. Santa's coming to this house.
I mean, that tracks. I say lazy. It's smart. It's smart planning because you don't want to lug RC cars and all this crap
I
in
share
the back
a
of the
lot
car.
We share a lot of our life with people. That is something I'm not sharing.
That's
not
fair.
Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Nope. I told Haley when we got married and we had no kids for that one Christmas, 21 days after we got married, but there was Christmas.
Yeah.
She was like, "All right, let's go spend the night." My mom's like, "Nope. Christmas morning is ours, and it will be our kids. And if we don't set it in year one, we'll never set it." And so,
that tracks, yeah.
Now, we got up early. We did Christmas ourselves. And then we went and did whatever else. But from the time we wake up, the first thing we do is family.
That's funny. Tooth Fairy's the same way, apparently.
Tooth Fairy. Nope. Now, if my kids have a tooth at my sister's house, their Tooth Fairy may be generous. Hopefully so.
Victoria, if you're listening, don't be generous. Come on. Now you just heard this spiel. Don't be generous.
She is not listening to this. Trust me.
Nah.
She probably don't even know that we have a show.
Probably not.
So, all right, buckets. We've got Game of Thrones. That's your best of the week. What's your beef of the week? Is it that Ned Stark got his head cut off?
I thought about that. Or that Sansa didn't push Joffrey off the side of that freaking bridge, man. I was just like, if the Hound hadn't intervened, I was cheering for it, man. Cheering for it. No, Drew, I'm worried about me.
Yeah, me too.
Today,
Join the club.
I
talked to your mom Sunday at church. She's worried about you.
That tracks.
Mama Lee? Good to see you again. I'll see you tomorrow night.
So, I'm worried about my well-being, my mental and my physical capabilities at 37. I, today, have been the most forgetful, dropping son of a gun I have ever seen. It started this morning. I was making a protein shake before I go to the gym, and I dropped the scoop that has a full scoop of whey protein powder all over the kitchen floor. Just to get that cleaned up, to make a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I dropped peanut butter side down on the same floor that I had literally just cleaned.
Wait,
I go to the gym.
You're a 6'5" dude. How are you eating? Why are you fixing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches by the halves?
Well, just because I'm going to the gym. I don't want to go on a full stomach. Just a light snack before I go to the gym.
I thought a peanut butter jelly sandwich was a light snack. Maybe that explains something.
Could be.
Could be. Tell me that's not a snack.
That's a whole meal, man. Come on.
How many do you eat for a meal?
Like maybe 2.
2.5.
Yeah, 3 on a good day. I don't know. I mean, if it's go sweat and get hot, I don't want to do it on a full stomach. But I digress. I dropped that stomach on peanut butter and jelly side down on the floor that I had just cleaned. I go to the gym. I get my workout. I come back. I go check in on a clinic. I'm meeting some people for the first time. For those of you keeping along, I've got a new job. I'm in Memphis, and I'm meeting this girl for the first time. I've got a little like over the shoulder satchel that I carry with me. I take it off. I put it on the ground. I go to shake her hand, and my foot catches the strap, and I mean, down goes Frazier. I was about probably a third of the way over before I caught myself. And nothing makes you feel more unathletic than tripping over something like that, right?
You tell me this guy's a physical therapist, and he can't even take off a purse?
I can't even take off his purse and walk. I come home. It's not over. I come home. I fix a glass of water that as I'm pulling it out from the sink, I clip the sink and it like turns up and water goes everywhere. And I'm like, at that point, I look at Shelby and my roommate dog Maggie are standing there, and I look at them and I go, "What is happening?" Yeah, there's some confusion right now. I'm like, what is happening? Everything's falling apart. Nothing is going well today.
All of our pets' heads are falling off.
I mean, that's what I felt like. That's exactly what I felt like. So I just finished mowing the yard. So I said, you know what? This is the Lord's way of telling me that I didn't need that water. And I grabbed my favorite beer that ever was in existence. And that's that post-yard mowing beer. And it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's after mowing the yard. It was in Memphis. It was a high cotton Scottish ale. Very good. Solid beer, would recommend, but it's just that post yard work, you hot, whatever. I'm like, I don't need water. I need beer at this point. So I had a little glass, had me a little beer, and it has since made things better. But Drew, I don't know if my face is drooping. Like I remember names and things, but I don't feel today. I feel the most clumsy I've ever felt. Unathletic, non-dexterous, like whatever you want to call it. Non-dexterous. I don't know. Whatever. See, I can't even talk.
Actually, I thought that was right. So.
Maybe. I don't know. Either way, I can't handle
your
nothing.
ABCs backwards.
I can't even do that normal.
I know. That's the worst sobriety test ever.
Yeah.
Z-Y-X.
I heard one the other night. My dad watches all these cop shows, and we were watching it the other day, and this guy was like, all right, we're going to count backwards from 100 by sevens. And I was like, I would get to 93, and that's it.
I could do that. I could do that quicker than I can do the ABCs backwards.
I don't know. I'm like 93, 86, and then it gets real foggy after
89 or 79.
It gets foggy. I'm like, man, I can even do that on a normal day. But nothing makes me feel more unathletic than the drops, and I've had those today.
And I it's part of the reason why I've started like trying to get in shape like recently. Trying again. That is,
Mhm.
and it's because I feel like my memory just stinks in the short
Mhm.
term. Like I cannot remember names anymore, and I know
Mhm.
some of that comes with age. Shoot, I've listened to my mom, my grandma, and everybody my whole life not call anybody by the correct name, and so I'm sure genetics plays a role in that too.
Mhm.
But like if there's anything I can do, I need to be doing it because, dude, names have gotten so bad for me in the
Mm.
short term, like
Yeah.
short term memory.
Yeah, man, like short-term memories going. That stuff's contagious. You know, my dad can't remember a whole lot, and that stuff's contagious. I've been around him recently, so maybe that's part of it. But like I got like when I tipped that water cup over on me, I looked at Shelby and I was like, what is happening? And I've never felt more unathletic and just unsure of myself at that point. I'm like, I just need to go lay down in a bubble and just be there.
You want me to tell you what I did Saturday that was unathletic, and
What?
part of the reason it should be expected. We went to my grandma's house for breakfast, which used to be an every Saturday thing. Now it's a special occasion. It's an event.
Mhm.
You don't want to miss it. We started playing kickball in the front yard, and I wore flip flops. And I went to kick that ball, and the toe of my flip flop caught, and like I jammed my big toe straight into the ground at like a 45-degree angle, just right in the ground, and I just hit the deck like on all fours, and I just like limped and went and sat in the rocking chair. And I was like, "Honey, I think I broke my toe of kickball and flip flops."
I mean, and like just the other day, I was in this office and I was rearranged some stuff, and Shelby kind of was in here and she kind of darted around me, and all I did was just like a quick turn to get out of her way, and that was enough to throw my center of mass off. And I'm thankful that this chair was here because I felt it behind me and just fell into it because I was like, there's no recovering. It's either putting a hole in this drywall or falling in this chair, and like. You know, again, I hadn't established like a primary care, and as you get older, you know, I'm in my twilight years. I probably need to do that now that I'm here in Memphis to get a good assessment of my noggin and see what's left up there, if there are any ridges left at this point, and figure out why. Because I'm like running these tests on myself, and I'm like, can I do like simple tasks? Like I don't know what's happening. That's it.
I've always now. You look at me and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I've always considered myself like an athletic person. I'm very coordinated. You know, that may be the better way of putting it. When I was in high school, I've never had an athletic build. I'm not tall. I've kind of been short and dumpy, but I've been very coordinated always. And
y'all should watch this man shoot hoops. Like he will dominate you in a game of horse or 21 or whatever.
But I feel like I'm so unsure of myself now, and it's always because of the amount of kids that are around me. Like I kind of said something to my wife the other day. I was like, "This nursery is awful. It feels like anytime I'm always walking in here with a kid, I feel like I'm playing the floor is lava. Like I'm just jumping from lily pad to lily pad over here like Frogger to keep from like tumbling down."
Oh, that was the other thing that happened today. For the first time in my life, I was working. Well, not the first time. So this wasn't the first time. I fixed mini toilets. The toilet at one of my clinics was out. I'm working on I go to get the part. I come back. I'm fixing to get the toilet. But I go to kneel down to take the bolts that hold the bowl, like the top section up there.
The bowl bolts.
Yeah, that's it. And so I go to kneel down, Drew, and I'm ashamed to admit this on air, but I looked around and was like, what can I grab in case I need help getting up? Like that went through my mind. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, what is wrong with you, man? Like you're like, be athletic.
Yeah.
But I did. I looked around. I was like, what can I grab to get up? And then it was just like, oh no, I know my fitness tonight.
Yeah. So, just pour one out to the younger years, I guess.
Back when my knees were a lot more quiet and I didn't say oi every time I get up out of a chair.
Oi. Ted Lasso reference. So all right, well, good deal. That's our best and B for the week. That's our first segment that we do every week here on the $2 Sports Show, where we just air out our grievances and then just tell each other what made us happy this week. So I hope you enjoyed it, Mom. This is your cue, I guess. You can turn it off if you don't want to hear us in the second segment talk about the NBA playoffs, the Grizzlies getting the 9th pick in the NBA draft lottery, and so on and so forth. So that's been our first segment. That's what we'll get to in our second segment. But before we let me tell you about Vicky Gann CPA. If the name sounds familiar, it's because Vicky Gann is my mother. She's got 25 years of experience, and she offers accounting services of all kind, income tax, tax preparation, payroll tax. She does a lot of work with QuickBooks. Trust me, I know when I was a kid living home, she was always going to QuickBooks courses. So if you or anyone you know and love have a business that uses QuickBooks for their payroll purposes and you need help troubleshooting the application, you can call my mom. You can call Vicky, and she can help you out. And if you want to get started using QuickBooks, give mom a call, and she will get you started. So you can give her a call at 662-415-6446 or email her at vickyganncpa@gmail.com. That's VICKIGANNCPA@gmail.com, and she will get you fixed up.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, but now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is with are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is now when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, he's David Jones. Outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? He's facilitating the ball well. I mean, what do you like? I don't.
To a 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner three from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up, and then literally within the first 15 seconds missed a wide open layup, and then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well, I think
we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy. And we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show. I muted myself during Drew's commercial and forgot to unmute, and so I'm sitting here looking like, what's happening? But if you are still here at this point, I know it's not because you enjoy looking at our faces, because nobody likes looking at our faces, barely even our own mothers. But the real reason you must be here is because you enjoy the content of Bluff City Media, and you enjoy being a part of this network and this family. So join the Discord. It's $5 a month. Uncle Buck and I will front your first month of fees. Again, $5, less than a cup of coffee at most of your favorite coffee places. Come hang out. There's great content for everybody, whether it's Grizzlies, college football, professional football, wrestling, ticket sales. Come hang out with us. You're not paying to hang out with us. That's obvious. We can't even get people to do that for free. Come hang out with the other great content creators on this network that provide a high-quality product that is a lot better than some of the redneck shows that you get here. But if you are here, it's time to talk basketball. A lot of things happened this week for the Memphis Grizzlies, Drew. We had 2 big happenings. We'll get to the draft second, but first, we've said on this show before, you only get one shot to redo your assistant coaching staff and fire all your assistants. And so the Memphis Grizzlies cleaned house over the last week since we talked. Taylor Jenkins is getting an all-new support staff, including hiring one Noah LaRoche, who has been known, he's worked with Paul George, Russell Westbrook. He's worked with the Clippers organization for a while. He is a great leader, somebody that can really help develop young players. He's a new assistant coach and head of player development. Uncle Buck, this brings the question, does this feel like a make or break year for Taylor Jenkins? Because to me, this feels like a move like, hey, Bub, like, we're giving you all the things. Pick your assistant team, your assistants, pick your coaching staff. You've got the talent. Everybody's coming back healthy. This feels like we're pushing all of our chips in. TJ, can you take us to the promised land?
First, let me just start with your intro here. Did he clean house? I saw that there were major changes, but I mean, there was like 20 assistant coaches there. You telling me that he fired half? Because I haven't seen that reported anywhere.
From what I saw, that there were several coaches that were let go, and they're replacing them with a few new faces. So I guess it's not a complete overhaul. It's more of a refreshing, I should say.
Okay. Well, then let me just address what we've said on this show before. You get one chance to fire your assistant coaches. It's known I'm a Taylor Jenkins fan. One of the biggest. I think he's an incredible coach. However, however was the wrong word used there. So let me just go out and say it, and you may paint me as a homer, but no. I don't think that this means anything other than he just wants a different kind of voice. He's been very consistent with his assistant coaches. He's had very little turnover with assistant coaches at all. He's only added. He's the only subtraction that I know of as a pretty avid Grizzlies fan is the only one he's lost was what's his name to the Raptors
head coach of the Raptors. Yeah.
Darko.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's ever fired anybody. And so this is TJ's going into his 5th season.
Mm-hmm.
If he, to my knowledge, he's only added people. And when you say, and I say that you only get one chance to fire your assistants, that is in a situation in which you were trying to save your job. Mm-hmm. In no way after this season is Taylor Jenkins trying to save his job. Mm-hmm. He is not throwing anybody under the bus. If he's firing anybody right now, it's because he doesn't think they're doing a good job, or he can find somebody that can do a better job.
Well, this Noah LaRoche hiring
is good.
It's good.
Yeah. And the guy they got, the development guy, forgive me for not knowing all the assistant coaches' names.
Yeah.
But the guy they got last year, the development guy from the Heat, anybody would have hired him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't subtraction because you stink, or subtraction because something's got to change or else I'm getting fired. It's never been that. It's all been about upgrades. And so I think that he's upgrading, and I have no reason to think that he's not. Taylor Jenkins feels no pressure for his job right now. As we currently see it going into 24-25, he has no pressure.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't say
if he's
no pressure.
If I'm talking about right now, and if he's overhauling his staff, it's not because he thinks that he's scared, that he needs to show ownership and show Kleiman that he's got a pulse and that he's willing to take this into the correct opposite direction. No, everybody's happy with the direction. We just got derailed by injuries. Nobody's. You got it. I mean, this team won 27 or 28, almost 30 games with nobody.
Yeah.
Except Taylor Jenkins. I mean,
he even had to get on the court and defend at one point.
I mean, he has no issue with job security at all.
I will agree to an extent. I won't say there's no pressure, because at the end of the day, he's had some very talented teams that he's taken deep. Probably lack of experience has led to those eliminations more than Taylor Jenkins. No. Not on him. I'm talking about the team. Let me talk.
I just disagree. I disagree because he's gotten his eliminations has been to the Golden State Warriors team that went and won the finals, their 4th, might I add you, and LeBron.
Apparently you
went
weren't
to the
listening.
Western Conference Finals. Like,
Let me say that again so you actually listen to me this time.
Okay.
I said it was not Taylor Jenkins. It was a lack of experience by the players. The team didn't have the experience to beat a defending perennial champion.
I get defensive because you just hate on him all
that's
the
it.
time.
And I'm sitting here trying to agree with you.
Shame on me for assuming that you were going to bash on Taylor Jenkins again.
But I'll say this. I won't say there's no pressure on Taylor Jenkins because this team that we've got going next year is absolutely loaded. It's like we talked about Will Levis last week with some of the hirings. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? We talked about if it fails in Tennessee and the Titans, and we'll get this here in a little bit. It's not because they didn't put weapons around him, right? Like Will Levis now has a decent stable of weapons to get there. I know it's a deep reach.
Now. Don't you ever say Will Levis and the Grizzlies in the same sentence ever again. Never. I will find a new co-host on a new show. One. Don't you ever put Mayonnaise Boy and the Grizzlies in the same
Here we are getting derailed again. But I'll say this. If this team is talented, like this team is freaking loaded. We're one piece away, a consistent big who can pick and roll and rebound. That's all we really need from being a legitimate finals contender. So over the next couple of years, if we don't make at least an appearance in the NBA Finals, it's not because the talent's on the team. And so, sure, this may not be, I'm trying to save my job, and it may not even been his decision. But the report was that the Memphis Grizzlies let go of several assistant coaches. Sources tell The Athletic head coach Taylor Jenkins is restructuring the majority of his staff ahead of the 24-25 season, was the tweet that I was referencing. And so this doesn't feel like a barn, like a, hair on fire, what's his name? Sam Pittman. I got to do this to save my job at Arkansas, right? Like this is hey, we need some better pieces, but we need some pieces that are going to help us take that next step because we've kind of we've hit a ceiling, right? We've been the 2 seed, but we haven't made it past the second round. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's time to, the proverbial, go or get off the pot at this point, since we are a family podcast. And so I think that Taylor Jenkins is using this as an opportunity to overhaul his staff, not because his job depends on it right now, but he knows that if he needs a little bit of help to get over the hump. He needs guys that can help develop the young talent that we have. He obviously needs a little bit of help, and you'll probably disagree with this, but sometimes I think the majority of the Grizzlies fans will agree that he struggles sometimes with rotations and pulling players and putting players in at the right time. And so if he's surrounding himself with people that can help with those decisions, I'm all for it. I'm pro Taylor Jenkins. I also am a realist and can say, hey, he's a great NBA coach who has some flaws. That's all I am. I'm not bashing the guy. He's a great coach. I'm not saying I want anybody else right now. I'm just also recognizing some of the flaws that he has. And kudos for him for going out and getting LaRoche and some of these other guys that can help fill those gaps.
All right. Well, let me agree with you a lot on this, if I may.
Wow.
If not, I'm totally cool with just arguing with you and calling you an idiot.
We do it all the time.
First, I think it's totally possible that he's consolidating. Okay, have you seen the first 3 rows behind the bench is all the quarter zip gang? Okay, it's like 40 people in in baby blue quarter zips with the Grizzlies logo on it. I think it's very. And they're like, LaRoche came in. He was like, all right, I'm not going to be one of 36. Fire half of them. Okay, fine. Like too many cooks in the kitchen is a thing. Okay. So again, that may be it. So I think that obviously Taylor struggles with some stuff. I just have a hard time criticizing game to game on an 82 game season. I'm more big picture kind of guy. He's been the 2 seed 2 times in his 5 years here as a Grizzlies coach.
We agree he's a good NBA coach.
And so my argument with you is often like, let's not get too caught up in one game. But stretch it out, fine. But I think that
there's a large sample size is all I'm going to say. And that one game can cost you if it's game 6 or game 7 and it's a must win in the playoffs. I'm with you. I think that Taylor Jenkins is totally safe. However, I do agree with you going into next season that he does not have pressure on him as in terms of hot seat. Right.
But he has pressure in terms of expectations.
Agreed.
And if he's making changes because he knows that the expectations are high, well, then that's good for the Grizzlies. I think that a lot of times these coaches and teams, they're okay being good, but going good to great is harder than going from bad to good. And it takes a lot of self-evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And you had plenty of time this year as a high 20-something win team in a year full of injuries. You played 33 players. You had plenty of time to reflect and just be like, okay, not that I'm not paying attention to the 23-24 Grizzlies, but the 21-22 and the 22 or the 22-23, 23-24 Grizzlies. No, I'm sorry, 21-22, 22-23 Grizzlies were the 2 seed, and we were short. So what could have we used then, and what can we do differently in 24-25?
Fair.
And I think that is, and also, it's just like a dude with a truck. You're always looking for a way to upgrade. And I think that's what healthy mindset, ambitious, driven people do, is they're always looking for their own deficiencies and how to correct them before they bite them in the tail. The Grizzlies in the 2 previous years did not underachieve by losing in the second round to the Warriors or losing in the first round to the Lakers. The Warriors were just better than them, and the Lakers were the beneficiary of a Ja Morant injury. No, I'm sorry. Steven Adams.
The Warriors. Yeah, Steven Adams. Yeah,
in the Lakers.
And the only reason we really lost that Warrior series was because Ja got hurt and Dylan got hurt. And so I'm with you. If that's what this is, if this is Taylor Jenkins looking at himself and saying, I need to be better at player development and in-game rotations. Let's just say, not saying that's what it is, but let's just say that's what he saw. And so then he goes out and gets this LaRoche guy who's helped with, he's like Paul George and Russell Westbrook speak super highly of this guy. These guys who he's got a proven track record of working with high-level NBA players and creating success for them. And if that's what Taylor saw he needed, he went and got it. Dude, kudos. I'm all for that because that's going to make the likelihood of a deep playoff run that much more realistic for a team that's not that far away. Like you said, we're not going from bad to good. We're just trying to go from good to great. And if this guy can come in and polish off some of those rough edges and smooth the sails for us to be able to make it to the Western Conference Finals, then dude, like kudos Taylor Jenkins. And I'm here to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Because it feels like that's what this is.
Yeah. And I like I said, I think we're agreeing on a lot of this here because I look at these moves not as if he's on the hot seat. Like he's desperate. And when I say you've got one chance to fire your assistants, that's not this situation. That's not this scenario here. This scenario to me screams evaluation of your own staff and can I get somebody better? It's the same thing that all these Phoenix, the Lakers, the who else fired their coach just recently? I'm just drawing a blank off the top of my head. Talk about memories.
Milwaukee midseason.
And so you never fire your coach unless you know that you can replace him with someone better.
Yeah.
And if you've got the chance to replace the coaches with someone better, then you do it. I mean, this is a business and it's a results business. And so he had plenty of time to evaluate his own staff. And he ultimately landed on this guy over this guy, or these guys weren't pulling their weight. And so we're going to look somewhere else. And that is this year provided so many positives when it came to player development and seeing what you had. But we never talked about Taylor being able to scout his staff to see what they had because it was the same process. It's just you see what everybody does. You get more of a chance to see what everybody does.
Trial by fire is what this year was.
Right. And so I'm hoping that, we just, in the South, a lot of times, you can, when you're taking care of your grass, you can put out your weed and feed, you put out, go pluck the weeds out of your garden, you fertilize, you lime your yard, all that. But sometimes the best thing for your yard is just to set it on fire and start over.
That's it.
That's what this year was. Yeah. We have purified by fire,
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you're seeing here. You just had a really good chance to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
This is
And
the fruits of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. I saw some of these Twitter highlights, these bozo clowns on Twitter talking about different things, and that's where I got that. Is this a make or break year for TJ and our show doc? I don't think it is. I just think that right now it may not be, but if it's, like you said,
if he gets fired this year, there's a scenario in which he gets fired this year. If you're being really honest, it's the NBA, high-paid gig.
Sure.
You've got high expectations. If you miss the playoffs with everybody healthy, then you can. That's the scenario in which they're like, okay, maybe he lost the locker room, maybe it needs a new voice. There's always a scenario for that. But as of today being May the 17th, Friday, May the 17th, he is not scared for his job right now. And
I agree.
If come next March, if you're the 10 seed, like maybe you are. But I think that's what he's trying to prevent by these moves.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. But speaking of, we had an underachieving year, trial by fire this year. Briefly before we go to our break, Grizzlies got that number 9 pick. We had a miserable season, and we thought that the basketball gods, aka Adam Silver, was going to reward us for our miserable year. And we got one of the least valuable spots in that number 9 pick. We're kind of in that no man's land where in what is a lot of people are calling kind of a shallow draft that's not real deep and not a lot of good players. There's been a lot of things coming up. Like, do you keep that number 9 pick and take maybe a Dalton Connect or someone like that, and then you trade into the back half of the first round and go after a Zach Edey if you think that he's the future in the post? If Donovan Clingan's there, do you sit on it and do you take Donovan Clingan? I don't want anything to do with Zach Edey. We can get to that in a minute. Today it was mentioned that Cleveland is actively looking into trading Donovan Mitchell, and a dark horse that was mentioned today are the Houston Rockets and your Memphis Grizzlies as a potential landing spot for Donovan Mitchell. Does that number 9 pick become more valuable going after him? Personally, that's not the Cavalier that I would want. The Cavalier that I would want is one named Jared Allen, but
I'm having just thoughts pop in my head as you talk. Hit me one at a time.
All right, so number 9 pick. First of all, we'll start. Do we keep the number 9 pick, or do you think it's more valuable for us to trade it at this point?
Yes, I think we keep it. I think it's more valuable to us as a cheap contract than it is to somebody else as the 9th pick. I mean, the same reason why you're like, you text me and you're like, trade it. It's not valuable. It's the same thing other teams think. And I think this is not a superstar draft. You rarely see 9 potential superstars, okay? You rarely see 4 potential superstars. And so at 9, but this is like a deep draft. There are people at 9 that I like, that I think will be there. I think there's a solid shot that Donovan Clingan can be there. And I heard this on the Chris Vernon show, so I'll give him credit. But the number 9 pick from last year's draft is making like $3.5 million. Where else can you get a 4-year contract for $16 million like that?
Yeah.
And so, no, that's valuable. And you think Cleveland's going to trade you Donovan Mitchell for the 9th and some role players? Like, no.
Yeah, I agree. People were throwing all these trade scenarios together where we were sending, Jitty and then our next 3 first-round picks, and that's not Kleiman style. I don't see us doing that. There was one where it was BC and Zaire Williams and a couple second rounds. I don't like any of the trade scenarios that were popping up on Twitter for Donovan Mitchell. And that feels like a locker room disruptor. That doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like it's going to build chemistry, because then what are you going to do, right? Then you got Ja, you got Dez, you got Donovan Mitchell, 3 guys that need touches. That's going to get a lot of shots up. It just doesn't feel good. It feels like Jaren's odd man out. Dez is odd man out. Like you said, looking at the way the draft falls based on who's ahead of us and who has post players, the only one really in question is Atlanta. And they'll take Sarr first overall.
If they want a center, they're going to take Alex Sarr.
That's it.
So here's my thing. So Donovan Mitchell. So I'm going to draw a comparison that may be unfair because I'm not a college basketball connoisseur. But at its surface level, as measurables, Donovan Mitchell and Reed Shepherd, they're smaller build, high volume shooters. They are not going to stand up a lot defensively in the NBA. We know that for sure with Don. Yeah. We don't know that for sure with Reed, but forgive me for assuming that a 6'2" white guy isn't going to be like elite defensively.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about this in relation to Ja, because you're playing Ja.
Yep.
So prototypically, I love guys next to Ja that can really defend. Now that's not Dez, but Dez would be better than either of those two.
Yeah.
And trading for Don is going to cost you, I don't know, maybe Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
And and so like I'm just not interested in the Don talk, if I'm being honest with you.
No, me neither.
I like the depth that we've got, and maybe it's just a Grizzlies fan that loves his Grizzlies. But like I just don't see how that a Ja Don backcourt makes a lot of sense. Yes, you may look like the Indiana Pacers. If you remember what the Indiana Pacers looked like this year, it still look like they're still playing.
Yeah.
They're scoring 140 points a game and giving up 150. Like I don't want that. Like I'm sorry. You've got a highlight reel and an offensive dynamo and one of the best, drive and kick finishers of all time, John Morant. Like I don't want to get in shootouts. Like
no,
that's just not our identity. And
I think what we need, there's bigger pressing needs than a Donovan Mitchell. There are bigger things that we need. We don't need something that's going to come in and reinvent the wheel. It's just like you're stepping in. We just need somebody that can step in and do the things we were bad at last year. And Donovan Mitchell does none of those things well.
Yeah, I just don't feel like we're far away. And that is like throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
That's like watching. You see what happened in Phoenix? They had Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, and they sank a ship that was rising.
It was perfectly fine.
It was perfectly fine.
Now, Kevin Durant's one thing, Donovan Mitchell's another.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, I'm just not a big fan. I don't think. And so, like with that 9th pick, like I want a big man. If Klingon falls, great. I think there's a real shot Klingon falls because there's just not a lot of people at the top end of that draft that's going to want
It's Atlanta and Washington.
One singer.
It's Atlanta and Washington are the two that you got to watch. Atlanta will take Sarr first
1,
overall, and Washington's
1-2.
That's it. Washington's not going to take him number 2. So those are the only two you really have to worry about. Everybody else has got bigs.
And Jared Allen, forgive me, I'm going to pivot just slightly. You mentioned Jared Allen. We're talking centers. I don't know, man. The story came out after they got eliminated last night that he refused a pain injection in his leg that would have allowed him to come back 2 games ago. Yeah. And then last year he said that the lights were too bright for him. I don't know, man. I don't think I want him anymore.
I agree. That report, I forgot about that report.
He ain't got that dog in him, I think
there's better options. Again, Jared Allen's going to be a volume scorer. All we need is somebody who can set a pick and roll for Ja, who can rebound, and who can defend the paint. And you don't even have to defend it all that super well because we got the defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson Jr. But you need a guy.
He doesn't have to play 5. He's going to get back to those ways.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And there are guys. There's so much guys you can get a lot cheaper. Not Naz Reid, maybe not a lot cheaper, but you might could go after him. A Wendell Carter Jr.
Naz Reid, stop.
Wendell Carter Jr.
You've got better odds of getting Karl Anthony Towns than Naz Reid.
Wendell Carter Jr. in Orlando is another name that comes up often. Like there are guys that we could probably go get that provide more of what we need. And I'm like you, Drew. I love the idea of a cheap big. Let it be Donovan Klingon. I love if he falls to number 9. I freaking love that, man. If not, you take next best available. We've got a plethora of 2nd-round picks and some guys that we can move, and you go see who you can get.
I'm starting to wonder if not the best move that the Grizzlies could do going into next year is re-sign Kennard, draft Donovan Klingon, sign Andre Drummond to like a 2-year deal.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I was talking about that this week.
You're just looking at, you're filling gaps, and I don't want to sound complacent because, like we talk about Taylor Jenkins, don't ever be complacent, self-evaluate, do all this kind of stuff. But I just look at this team, and I'm just like, this team's going to be good, man.
Yeah. And
they just are. Let's not overreact.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel. I was in a conversation this week that I almost got up and left when somebody said, you know who the Memphis Grizzlies need? And I said,
Chandler Parsons.
No, they said Dwight Howard. And I was like,
oh, God.
I got to go. I said,
he's
I would
like Vietnam.
I was like, I'd much rather have Andre Drummond. And they were like, I don't want Drummond's trash. I'm like, Drummond's playing in the NBA. Dwight Howard's playing overseas. Like, that's all I got to tell you, man. Otherwise, this conversation's over because, like, the fact that you think Dwight Howard is a feasible option for this team in 2024 tells me everything I need to know about what you know.
I'm pretty sure Dwight Howard fled the United States.
Yeah.
If you don't remember those stories,
bruh,
he got out of here.
He had accusations. They were piling up, and he's like, "I won't go." He's like, "You need to learn Chinese, sir." Like, come on, man. Drummond does what we need. He does what we need, and it does well. Especially if you can get if you can get Klingon early, and then you got Drummond that can come, because all Drummond's going to give you is 8 to 12 minutes a night anyway, and let Donovan Klingon figure it out. He's
going to get you a rebound a minute. I mean, let's can't be understated like the value that is. That is what we need. I'm not going to be the guy that's pounding the drum like, oh my goodness, I want Andre Drummond, but I do want rebounding, and I do want somebody that sets hard screens.
Yeah.
If we can get him for cheap, it's all about bang for your buck here.
100%.
And if we can, I don't want him to be our only option, but if we could pair him with Klingon to kind of rotate in, learn the ropes, whatever, great.
Yeah.
Better than Tristan Thompson.
Oh, God. And I think it's better than Zach
Dwight
Edey.
Howard.
I think it's better than Zach Edey. Zach Edey ran fast on the court, but you watch him and he just looks too slow in the game.
I'm scared to death
I know.
that we're going to take him.
I know. But if we, surely to goodness, we're not going to take him at 9. We'll trade back and get him later in the first round. I don't love it, man, because it's just like, it's like Mark Davis for the Raiders. Like, he drafts on people who look good at the combine, and he can run fast on the court. But if you watch him, he's just processes slow. He moves even slower. His game does not translate well to the NBA.
I just have no business. Like, I could not care less that he has developed a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
I just don't care. Like, he may be less athletic than Hashim Thabit.
That's saying something.
And I'm not saying he's going to be a bad pro. Like, but he is a less like Walker Kessler changed how a lot of people are viewing those big lugs.
Mm-hmm.
But Walker Kessler could swim laps around Zach Edey. I mean, athletically. They're not the same. He's just not athletic, man.
He runs the court like Matt Hunt, and we've already got one of those guys for the G League, and we don't need that. Like, we don't need a guy who's unathletic.
He is so irrelevant that Rusty can't even get his name right.
That hurt.
It's
Sorry,
Matt Hurt.
I said hurt. As soon as I said I'm doing it sound right. Welcome to the $2 Sports Show.
I'm trying.
Well, listen,
hold on.
Oh, there it is. Welcome to the $2 Sports Show. Listen, it's one of those nights. Sometimes you get what you pay for here, and sometimes we run long, and this is going to be one of those nights. But we'll wrap up our NBA talk with that. Real quick, last thing. Would you draft Bronny to get LBJ for a year?
Yes.
Ooh, you would. You would draft that.
The 9th pick to get LeBron James? Yes.
All right. Interesting.
There would have to be contingencies. He's not getting paid $40 million a year. It's just non-starter.
Yeah.
Like what are we going to do? Sacrifice 6 through 15 on the bench to sign LeBron?
Yeah.
But no, your perk is we're giving your son $3.5 million when he deserves
nothing.
800,000.
Yeah.
If you want a bigger cut, get it from him.
Yeah.
Yes. If you told me in a vacuum, whoever picks LeBron James Jr. gets LeBron on a deal that makes sense to the team, because all he wants to do is play with his son.
Mm-hmm.
That's his swan song, is being able to play with Bronny.
Yeah.
Then the Grizzlies, if I'm the GM, the Grizzlies go on the clock for 5 minutes. It would not get to 4:59 before I turn the card in. I'm telling you, no, I mean, who wouldn't take LeBron freaking James?
I mean, yeah, I would take LeBron James, even 40-year-old LeBron James, as long as it made sense.
Still good.
Now, as long as it makes sense.
Again, this is vacuum.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, LeBron James has got to know at 40 years old now, I think he found out this year, he can't be alpha anymore. He's an amazing player.
Yeah.
But he is not the player anymore.
But I guarantee if he comes to Memphis, he would get Taylor Jenkins fired, because that's his MO. He gets good coaches fired, man.
Again, we're talking in a vacuum here.
Yeah.
And no. LeBron James and Kevin Durant just have tombstones for past head coaches.
100%. With that, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll come back. We got a very brief last segment, and we'll see y'all on the other side.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're gonna play you, bang, 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 and hopefully everybody understand. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game.
Right.
All of us, to the last person on the bench, you got an ego, but all of us can't be the man.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. Mm-hmm. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping his logo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine. Cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of the $2 Sports Show. If you are still here, I have two questions for you. Why? Secondly, will you give us a follow? Our Instagram and our Twitter at the bottom. Hop on our social medias. Give us a follow. Let us know that you're here. We love to interact with our fans, and we're going to bring back some poll questions and some would you rathers and some drafts this off season. A lot of good content coming your way, so don't miss any of it. Hop on Instagram at the number $2_BCM. It's the same on Twitter, and that's the actual number $2_BCM. Drew, we had a reveal party today.
Gender?
Of some of the probably would have been better. I'm anti-gender reveal parties, and it still would have been better.
One?
And that's what I'm saying. I'm anti-gender reveal parties. I'm also anti this chair because it slowly creeps down, and then all of a sudden I'm in a freaking bucket down here. But anyway, I digress. Should have been my beef, but. The New York Giants released some of the worst throwback alternate uniforms I have ever seen in all of my 37 years. I mean, if y'all haven't seen them, they are abhorrent. Whoever designed those needs to be fired.
Yeah, Rusty just made up a word to describe them.
Here we go. This is the second time I have known a word that you don't know. Abhorrent is a word.
You said abhorrent.
We don't say those words on here. We don't say those type words on here. Anyway.
Right. So I thought it was funny. I saw these, and the funniest response I saw on Twitter was that the New York Giants were wearing jerseys to commemorate a team that ultimately died in a plane crash with no survivors.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Wow.
And that's kind of how those jerseys should have been going out, in a blaze of glory.
I mean, in a fire, man, because it got me thinking, Drew. I was trying to think, I don't know that there's been many worse in NFL history. The
ones that I think of, those Packers ones, the blue and yellow Packers, and the horizontal striped Steelers ones.
That's the Bumblebees. The Bumblebee Steelers are the ones that came to mind. And then Chicago wore these all orange alternatives one time that were awful. The Dolphins had an orange jersey. There's been some bad ones over the years, but this Giants one takes the cake, man. None of the throwbacks to the 20s and 30s really look good, but this one is the worst. And I'm hoping that with the backlash and stuff that has happened on social media, that this will be the last time somebody throws back to that bygone era, because those are some bad uniforms.
Adam Schefter said in the tweet that they will be worn at maximum 2 times. I'm going to say they're worn once.
One time. And that's it. Because they ain't going to be selling none of those in the gift shop, I guarantee you. But
those color rush uniforms were either amazingly incredible. Like I loved the all white Saints.
Those look so good.
However, the opposite side were those Bears you were talking about with the orange. Ooh. And the Seattle with the lime green.
I mean, my nephew loved those. But
uniforms, my things with uniforms are, if you've got cool colors, you have no excuse for having lame uniforms.
Yeah.
And so the biggest offender of this, in my opinion, are the Los Angeles Chargers. They have some awful uniforms, have some great color. They've got that powder blue, that classic Charger pale blue. And then they just wear solid yellow pants with them.
I know, they're awful.
Like
atrocious. It's the same. Do you remember those like Sean Alexander Seattle Seahawks teams with that like weird like cobalt blue? Yeah, it was just not a good look, especially given like they have some of my favorite throwbacks of those like early 90s.
They were very distinct.
Which ones?
The Sean Alexander Seahawks.
I didn't
Seahawks.
I didn't care for those. Yeah, I like the old ones from the 90s with the green and blue Seahawk on the helmet, the silver helmets. Those look good. But my 2 favorite throwbacks are those, and I'm a fan of the creamsicles for the Buccaneers.
Everybody
those
knew
are like
what you were going to say. That one.
Top
That's
tier.
Everybody's favorite.
And last year when the Titans brought back the Oiler uniforms last year, those were incredibly done. The Kelly green for the Eagles looks good.
As an Ole Miss fan, I feel so validated because Ole Miss was on the front end of bringing back the powder, and everybody's brought back powder. So the Phillies brought back powder, the Chargers brought back powder. Everybody has brought back powder. But it correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free. Tell me who did it first.
No, I mean Ole Miss has been doing it for a while. Yeah.
And they did away with it. They went Navy. You know, you never saw Eli and powder. You never saw, but they brought back that powder early, and it has been the way. Everybody's doing powder, and it always looks good. I mean, the Titans even brought back the Oilers, and there's a reason why they're bringing it back. 'Cause it's always good. For me, quick aside, the Kelly green, great.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do green, do Kelly green or fully commit to, maybe it's a hot take, I love the current Miami Dolphins colors.
Yeah. No, I like that
green. I feel like it fits. It fits that Miami. You remember the Miami Heat jerseys? They did the Miami Vice jerseys.
Yeah,
I feel like it's what the Miami Dolphins are right now. They've got that bright color. I love it.
Yeah,
and they don't overdo it.
Yeah,
like
I'm a fan of darker colors. For me, if you're going to go green, I do like the Kelly green, or I really like that deep hunter green that the Jets used to wear back in the Vintage Testaverde and the Keyshawn. For me, I like dark colors. I like that deep green looks good on these uniforms, particularly with a crisp white helmet.
I'm a patriot. I'm an American. I love red, white, and blue. And maybe that's my background in Ole Miss football. I just don't feel like you can screw up red, white, and blue. You look at the old Patriots when they brought those back last year. Amazing.
Yeah, those did look good.
Amazing.
There were several really good throwbacks last year because they brought back those old Seahawks, the Kelly green, the creamsicles. There were several of those good throwbacks. Yeah, those good throwbacks came back last year, and we've got some come back this year.
All this to say is New York Giants. You've got red, white, and blue. You can't mess up red, white, and blue, or it's really hard, and you did it. And you did it very emphatically.
They're wearing khaki pants like they're going to friggin' work, like Wall Street, man. Like, why are you wearing khaki pants to play football? Those are hideous.
All right, new rule. If you're going to commemorate a team from 100 years ago with uniforms, wear the leather helmets, you cowards.
That's it. If you're going to do it, go all in. Wear your khaki pants and your leather helmets.
Wear ugly uniforms. If you're going to wear ugly uniforms from 100 years ago, you have to wear your leather helmets.
Done. Sold. Talk to me about Dabo Swinney. You said you had something else you wanted to talk about.
Oh, let me pull this up. You know, you go to all these state parks and, you know, you see the trees, you see the mountains, but one of the most famous sites of a national park is Old Faithful. You know what I'm talking about? The geyser in
Yep.
Yellowstone. Is that in Yellowstone? I can't remember if it's Yellowstone or one of them around it. But Old Faithful, when it comes to college football quotes,
oh boy,
is one Dabo Swinney.
Oh boy.
We're talking about the transfer portal. That's everything that is right now. If you're going to be good in football, you've got to get players. That's how it's always been. That's a tale as old as time. 10 years ago, you used to pay them under the table or slip them in textbooks or whatever. Now you just can pay them outright, and you've got to get them out of the portal. And it's just what's got to be done.
It is. Yep.
He famously said about NIL that they're rich in NIL because they built a team. And
yep. No, you're good. You don't have to preference it. Yep.
Okay.
You're good.
This is asinine, okay? He said that he builds his team in God's name, image, and likeness. Okay. That was how it started.
So reverent.
I tell you what, he'd got a lot of tips at the Baptist Church in Corinth, Mississippi when I grew up.
That offering plate would have run around and come back heavy.
Another famous coach that preached at that church that I went to, Hugh Freeze. But Dabo Swinney, when asked again about the transfer portal, because outside of the service academies, Navy, Army, and Air Force, they were the only team that had 0 players added out of the transfer portal this year. This is what Dabo said. Dabo Swinney asked on ACC PM about Clemson being the only non-service academy to take 0 transfers in 2024. He said it wasn't intentional. They looked at a few guys. Also, quote, every player is technically a transfer. We just signed a whole class for guys transferring from high school.
Goodness.
He is crashing and burning.
Oh my! Like this is
take the whole program with him.
This is such an epic meltdown on a national proportion. Like he is fully like gone senile. He has completely lost his mind. Transferred from high school, bro. You're gonna transfer yourself to the bottom of the ACC. The SEC ain't gonna be calling no more like rumors that they are if the conference decides to expand. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Holy
he said
smokes.
Most of the guys in the portal aren't good enough to play for us.
Jeez. Like, what do you even say to that? If I'm administration, I'm like, give me like they took away Hugh Freeze's phone for social media. Like, give him the old like Nokia bar phone with no social media. You take the mic away from Dabo Swinney.
Yeah. It's just, listen, everything about life is about adapting and moving forward. I mean, you look at it, I never thought that I would be too old for any sort of technological stuff. I'm a tech guy. I'm an engineer. I like phones and clouds and stuff like that. TikTok, pass me. Don't want any part of it. Now I realize that as half of a sports show here, that I could probably really benefit off TikTok. If we can clip this up, you're muted.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything. Shelby was squeaking her toy, so I had it muted for our faithful listeners that are still here at the hour and 15-minute mark.
I know that, possibly, that I could probably gain a few followers for this little old sports show if we clipped it, put it on TikTok for all the young kids. However, I don't want to do it.
I refuse. Out of principle.
I don't really want to do it.
I refuse out of principle.
The difference is Dabo Swinney saying, I won 2 national championships here. We didn't have no transfer portal then. We got transfer portal now. I didn't need it then. I don't need it now. So I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But the difference is they're paying him like $9 million a year.
We ain't getting paid nearly that much to do this podcast.
I'm going to tell you right now, Bluff City Media, if you want to pay us $9 million a year or 1/1,000,000th of that.
Yeah. I'll do whatever.
We'll do TikTok.
That's it. I'll do it. I'll do it again on TikTok. But
$9 a year.
yeah. In the meantime, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I ain't doing it.
It's just so. And I saw Brian Kelly had a comment today about disparaging the transfer portal. And trust me, I hate the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to win,
You
you've
have to
got
do it.
to adapt.
You got to do it. Got to do it.
And you can't be holding your nose and you've got to commit.
You got to
And
do it.
Lane Kiffin, if you've got one positive thing to say about him, it's that he committed to it before
Gotta do it.
anybody else did.
Yeah.
And he's, we'll talk about it coming up coming out of the summer and into the fall, but like, you can't really do it any better than what he's done
Yeah.
out of the portal.
Yep. You're not wrong.
But
But
Clemson's going one way, Ole Miss going the other.
yeah, something like that.
Rusty, you ready to get out of here tonight?
That's all I got for today, man. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate our friends that are still here listening at this point. If you're already on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you get notified when our show, all the other great shows on this channel drop so we can all stay in touch. All of us can hang out. Join that Discord, $5 a month, so you can hang out with Uncle Buck and I and the rest of the content creators on this network. But in the meantime, you will not get a refund for anything you heard here tonight.
You will not. You will not get a refund because with a $2 sports show and most thrift stores, you get what you pay for. See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.